if you're watching this, first of all, you're part of the Recovery 2.0 community, but the people who will see this replay will be from across the globe. And
Wow.
so thank you all for joining us tonight. We have an absolutely packed room, and there's many people that are not going to get into this live presentation, but we will make sure to get them the replay. So Wim, what I'm going to do is read a little introduction of you, and then we're going to get right into a really fun, organic conversation.
Great.
Okay. So before we begin, please, everybody, just bring your hands together at the heart center. Allow the eyes to close. And we'll take 3 long and deep breaths together. As long and deep as you can. Inhale. And a full exhale. A deep inhale. And a full exhale. Your deepest inhale. And your fullest exhale. Beautiful. Okay. Wim Hof, a real life superhero. This is a guy who nearly summited Mount Everest, making it to 24,500 feet in shorts and open-toed sandals. He has swam underneath the ice of a frozen ocean for the length of a football field on a single breath. He's run a half marathon above the Arctic Circle barefoot. He's remained completely submerged in ice over 2 hours. And this is a guy whose skin temperature did not drop. His skin temperature did not drop. In all, he holds 26 official world records for feats that we have long believed to be impossible. His radical demonstration of what a human being is truly capable of has attracted both devotees and skeptics, but there's something different about Wim. He has brought the intense scrutiny of science with him so that he can get beyond the skepticism and actually prove what's going on with him. And above all else, what sets him apart for me is his warm heart and his intense passion to help other people overcome limitations and to serve humanity. Wim, I cannot thank you enough for joining us and speaking on the Recovery 2.0 Power Hour. Thank you.
Great. Great to be here. Yes. So let me start here. After I was with you there in Topanga, I went to San Francisco to meet top researchers on the DNA. And they also see the potential of what we have discovered. Mm-hmm. And we are going to remap the DNA and how to, at will, defy stress on our cells. And so we're going to change the books with that once again. But 6 years ago, we already showed that the autonomic nervous system can be deeply influenced. With that, the immune system and the endocrine system. The last study I've done is in the brain. It shows that that I've tapped in, and that is, or let me explain. Let me say it like this: we have tapped into the deepest part of the brain, thought of inaccessible by humans, and that is exactly what we need to fight off depression, psychosis, anxiety, fear, trauma. And now we have found the tool. Now we have found the neurological pathway how to get in. And this is what I want to bring to those who need that tool to break through the loop of addiction or not being the master over your emotion, mood, being able to deeply re-regulate the mood. And here we come. And I come across you. And then we're going to have our hands together and fight the demon to the boat.
Yes.
Sorry. I'm in the hospital, but I'm getting excited again.
You're in the airport, in the airport.
Yes, in the airport.
So Wim, there's something that we all in the Recovery 2.0 community, we have a few things in common. And one of those things is that we have absolutely beat the shit out of ourselves with addictive behavior of every kind you can think of. And every one of us has reached a bottom. Now, as I look at that, I think, in a sense, we trained ourselves into addiction. We actually trained ourselves into addiction. And I want to talk to you about that word training. And I want to ask you, do you feel that people can actually train themselves into negative behavior the same way you could train yourself out of that negative behavior?
Yes, it is in the end just conditioning. So conditioning can be remapped, reset. We have found a way to whatever caused that conditioning of the mind. Could be a mix of positive and negative thoughts, could be our lifestyle, could be it all together, a mix of, and everybody is different. The thing is, we have no way to reset the brain to go past this conditioning. And now we found the way to go past it. This is the shortcut. I'm explaining the shortcut now. And the words of the professors with whom I work in psychiatry, they say, this is a transformational technique that will change mental health care. The paradigm shift. So we are able to change negative conditioning based on negative thought patterns, which is trained. You know, you have to do the work. You have to get to the deadlines. You have to do all that is negative. You have to. That is a negative stressor coming in, and you let it. So you train your body, your brain, which is your body, to be dealing with negative stress. Yeah. Where does it end up? The brain says at a certain moment, hey man, I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm going to get you first into this loop where you always need more and more and more and more. And then you compensate it with different drugs. Whatever you do, this is what you wanted. This is what you get. Okay. Then finally, you find yourself in a moment, hey, I don't like this. I don't want this anymore. I want to get out. But then you don't find the way out. And we have found the way out, the tool to get out of that loop. So there, you and me come together with your community, and we will track it all down. You know, we are changing paradigms all the time in the science, because my knowledge comes from nature, and it is changing the books. And I tell you, for the community, for those who are in conditioned loops inside the brain, we found a way at will to get out of these loops and go to the deepest part of the brain, which is able to take on the stressor. I mean, conditioned negative stress in a loop needs dopamine, needs cannabinoids, needs opioids to have no pain, to feel euphoria, and to feel rewarded.
Yes.
We are able to provide the tools that create the neurological pathways in any person who is motivated to do so.
Yes, so motivation, obviously a key piece of this. Can you speak to the elements that provide that roadway into the natural opioid, the natural cannabinoids, to get to the part of the brain that can help us break out?
In a shortcut, it is simple. We possible neurological pathway possibility from the
tilt your screen
cortex.
towards yourself. There you go. So we can see you better. Yeah.
Oh yes. We have a natural possible connection neurologically between the prefrontal cortex, our personal will, so to speak, with the deepest part of our brain, which contains the cannabinoids and the opioids. But this is now proven in science, and I'm able to get people over there. We have to develop a program. Besides of this, of the scientific new pioneering work been done and been proven, we got a lot of anecdotal evidence of thousands of people who are completely out of their depression, out of their being bipolar, out of their suicidal patterns, and they are happy. They are fully in control. And what is that? This is pioneering science we are in. It's all new. So I'm fully confident that we are able, that within a week time, people who haven't had this sense of control within themselves to create the cannabinoids and the opioids and the dopamines are able to do so. So that's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Wim. You speak a lot about the word power.
Yes.
And power is a big word in recovery. In fact, in one of the main texts, the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it says, lack of power was our dilemma. Lack of power was our dilemma. And that, of course, the whole program is set up for us to be able to find a power that we can tap into. Can you speak to the way you understand returning power to the individual?
Once the hormonal imbalance happens, which creates all kinds of mental disorders, it affects the mitochondrial activity. Mitochondria are responsible for making ATP, adenosine triphosphate, molecules, energy, power. It's the system in the power, but we lost the connection, and it's being drained through the endocrine out of balance state of our physiology. What we do with these breathing techniques and with the ice water, and feel the person, how far he can go and how far he can come back into balance with that endocrine system. I think it takes a couple of days. And with the balance comes back the mitochondrial activity, the way nature meant it to be, and people will feel suddenly invigorated. They wake up and they have a sense of, where is the day? Where is the day? I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get anything. You know, that feeling, that is mitochondrial activity in a natural, balanced physiology. And that physiology we are able to provide within a couple of days. So then another thing happens with the mitochondrial activity in the cell responsible for the energy and the molecules. We are able to aerobically influence into the dissemination of the mitochondrial activity. So the chemical process that makes food into energy, we can also enhance through the right breathing techniques, even so much more. So the power is up to the person. How much do you want? It's all there. I can explain by biochemics and by numbers. It's no problem. We will provide the button. You have to increase the button. And therefore, how much do you want? That will be your problem, if it is a problem.
So can you explain to people from the perspective of your own mind, how have you been able to do the things that you've done, which so many people feel or have felt before were impossible? How are you able to do that? I know also you have a twin brother, and your twin brother, exactly identical twin, without training and without specific techniques, he's not able to do the things that you're able to do. Can you speak to that?
Yes, and he is an identical twin brother. That means that his genes are 100% like mine. Yet I make a different use of the same genes. I trained myself, this time not negatively through stressful behavior and daily life and getting into a loop, now positively. Like I am in charge and I make the charge go up and am able suddenly to feel myself in the depth of my own brain. You know what is there? Pure feeling. You got so much feeling, so much, you get so much confidence that you say, let's come on with these challenges because I feel I can take the world. And it's not about taking the world, it's about that feeling. I want to empower people that they have this that they have this hemisphere in the brain which can be activated, which is connected to the cell activity, the power of our cell, the power station within ourselves, which is the limbic system and the brainstem. And once you are able to bring more blood flow over there, and thus more neural controlled willful regulation of the neural activity, then the power is yours.
Okay.
So he is not able to do that because he never exercised. And I exercised and I'm able. You see, they are boarding, but I'm almost flying.
Hang
I
on.
can tell you, I'm flying already.
One more question, a couple more questions if we can quickly. Number one, people talk in recovery, they speak a lot about, the spiritual side, the emotional side.
Yes.
Most people who have really experienced severe addiction have been through very difficult emotional things.
Yes.
How about your methods?
Yes.
With overcoming emotional challenges, not
listen well to this mantra. This is what the professors have found, and this is what they have published in papers after studying my brain. We now have the compelling evidence of the key components of the autonomous processes in the brain related to mood regulation. Mood regulation is emotion. Emotion is the expression of the soul.
Thank you so much. Last question here. We'll let you go fly. How do you feel? Obviously, in this world, there is a place for medicine somewhere. That it's not completely irrelevant. But how do you feel about the use of the breath and what you've learned about the power of that versus some medical pharmacological protocols?
Oh, there is so much less needed of pharmaceutical dependency and much more into our life force, which is the breath, which is our brain. We got a neurological muscle inside. It's enormous. It's great. It can do anything. It's beyond our beliefs, but it will be the new belief. I'm now with the top researchers in the world, and that is not for nothing. I'm a dropout from school. My belief has reached the logic of human education, university belief, and data. No speculation. We are going to win. That's what is going to happen.
The three outcomes of your program are be healthy, be strong, and be happy.
Yes.
Do you believe that for anybody?
Yes. 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 No doubt. No doubt. I gotta go. I gotta go.
We love you.
I love you too, man. I love you all. Be strong and get it. Get it. It's there. The pathway is there. It's up to you. Love you.
We'll be in touch. Wow. Let's debrief together, yes? Shall we? Let's debrief. Let's debrief together. That was a unique one, yeah? That's so great. You know what's so funny is, you know, here's a man who, as you can tell, I mean, he's sitting at the airport and he's trying to help us. He's trying to give because his schedule was so busy. And the way things ended up, like when we scheduled this call, he just happened to be flying to Europe. But he showed up anyway. It's just incredible. So what I want to do now is I want to take a few minutes to tell you about my experience and the way that I've been studying Wim's work for the past week, since I met him just about 10 days ago. And I got into really looking at what he's offering and how it's relevant for people in recovery from addiction. So let's just take a few moments and go through some of that, okay? I met him 10 minutes after I met him, I was in ice cold water. That is not a joke. I did not have a bathing suit. He said, take off your clothes. Take off your clothes. And I said, all I have is underwear on. He goes, that's fine. We're all human beings here. And I got in this cold plunge. And I experienced, for the first time in my life, sitting in ice cold water for 10 minutes. And the experience is very impactful, obviously. It's new, it's very different, obviously. You might think it would be a painful experience. I did not find it to be painful. I got in and he started talking and he started saying with a very calm voice, he said, now focus in on the breath. Very yogic, right? Very yogic. So this is something that I do in my life, and focusing in on the breath is something I can do. He said, breathe to the bottom of your lungs and take as full and slow inhales as you can, and then exhale completely. Inhale fully, exhale completely, and stay there. Stay with that breath. Allow the water and the cold to do what it does. Now, obviously, there's no question that extreme cold is anti-inflammatory. It'll take down swelling in the body. There's no question that inflammation, as Wim has said, as many people have said before, inflammation is one of the causes of all disease, that somewhere in there, inflammation has a role to play. Stress causes inflammation in the brain. Stress. So what he was talking about earlier, which some of you were writing, I'm not sure that I completely get this point. What he was saying is that if you can apply a little bit of stress purposely in the right way, it can actually create a healing response, a more a positive outcome. Not too much stress. And so what we're talking about there is a hormetic response. And by hormetic, what I mean is a little bit, so the way one might explain that is a little bit of bad might do a tremendous amount of good. So you could think about that like in Kundalini Yoga, when we are holding our arms up in the air, for a fair amount of time, and it's challenging and it's difficult. It's an applied stress. We're purposely creating a modicum of stress, and then we're releasing that stress. What are we doing? We're training the body. We're training the body. So what we do in weightlifting, what we do in running, what we do in any form of athletics is we apply stress. The muscles of the body get little micro tears in them, and then the body goes to work to build them, to heal them, and to build them into stronger muscle groups. That's essentially the way that we train at anything. It just so happens that with Wim Hof's technique, he's essentially delved into the realm of yoga through the breath. He has identified breath work from the very deep well of breath work that's been around for maybe 5,000 to 10,000 years. He's identified some breaths that really, really help you get right in, as he was talking about, getting into the right part of the brain, accessing the pathway, and breaking through the loops. What do we mean by that? The loops are the stress, and I don't mean the good kind of stress, I mean the bad kind of stress that many of us carry, the conditioned responses that we all carry, the lack of creativity, the lack of spontaneity, and the unbelievable fear tape that we're running. How do we break through it? So what he's basically saying is there is a pathway, the breath has something to do with it, and cold therapy and training of that kind is what he's decided to put his life's work into, and it turns out that is a very powerful protocol. Now, as I've looked into what he's done, and I've studied I've looked at a lot of the feats that he's pulled off. See, he would not want these feats to be called superhuman, because his whole point is, you can learn this, you can do this. And he emphasized that from the very beginning. He said, anything I do, anybody else can do. So then the question is, well, why isn't anybody else doing it? Or why hasn't anyone else doing it? Well, it's very simple. We're at an evolutionary moment right now. What's so impressive about anybody who does something that no one has done before is it's pushing our capabilities forward. And it's really pushing our conception of what's possible forward. And on that note, I want to bring this home for anybody who's on a path of recovery from addiction. We currently deal with a society that tells us that we cannot recover from addiction. We currently deal with experts, the leaders in the field feel this is something you're going to have for the rest of your life. You can never overcome it. So many people, the great majority of people who are dealing with addiction or who are teaching about addiction or who are in the field of addiction, feel that you cannot overcome this, that once you have it, it's a lifelong thing, and that's the way it's going to be. And I absolutely disagree with this. I completely disagree with this. Anybody can recover from addiction. How do I know? Because I recovered from addiction. And if I can do it, so can anybody else. Trust me on that one. So that's why I asked him the question at the beginning. If you can train yourself into an addictive pattern, can you not train yourself out of an addictive pattern? Or I guess the people who feel you can never heal, they would say, no, you can't train yourself out of it because you've changed your brain and you now have the brain disease of addiction. I don't believe that at all. The brain is plastic. If there's anything we're learning in the new sciences, we're learning about brain plasticity. Now, there's also that old nonsensical statement, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You can teach an old dog new tricks. It just might take a little bit longer. Like we know that children can learn language very quickly, for example. We know that young kids can pick up 2, 3, 4 languages. Just by hearing those languages, they can learn in a way that adults may not be able to do, or we haven't figured that out yet. But an adult can still learn a new language. You can still study, you can still work different areas of the brain. So the point of this all is the brain continues to change and shift as long as we have the confidence and the commitment to do the things that are necessary to help the brain to make those changes, those shifts, to change our endocrine system, to bring the nervous system stronger and into balance, to increase our vitality and our immunity to all disease. If, as they say, addiction is a disease of the brain, so be it. If it's a disease of the brain, then let's put ourselves into the processes that will help the brain to recover from that. And let's not assume that one can't recover. You absolutely can. I've seen it not just in me, but in countless other people. And those people seem to have a few things in common. Not only have they undergone a process of recovery, something like the 12 steps or other psychological, spiritual processes, they have also re-established the connection with the body. And this is at the center of this work that I feel Wim Hof is doing. What are we recovering? A real and true connection to the body, and I mean the entire body, to our organ system, to our brain, to the chemical system of the body. He was talking about the endogenous chemical system of the body, the opioids, cannabinoids, and the dopamine receptors that we have, and those chemicals, we have the ability to create those chemicals inside us. Somebody in here wrote, as Wim has said many times, yes, you want to get high on your own supply. You want to get high in here naturally. How can you do it? We already know the answer. The question is, will you do what it takes to do your yoga every day, to sweat, to laugh, to dance, to sing, to hug somebody, to connect with each other, to do all the things that we know we have to do in order to bring about that beautiful shift in internal chemistry, which helps us to feel not just well-regulated, but happy, content, strong, present, capable. We start to rebuild our confidence. What are you doing in addiction and in addictive behaviors? You're stripping yourself of your confidence. You're literally training yourself to be weak. And I mean weak physically. I'm not talking about your character is weak. We're not talking about moral issues here. It's not about weakness of character. When you engage in addictive behavior, you're creating weakness in the mind and the body. And you're stripping yourself of confidence because on some level, you realize, you recognize, I should not be doing this. This is not, leading to my well-being. And when you have an inner voice that says, I'm engaging in a behavior that's not helpful to me, that's an inner conflict. And that's the pain and the suffering of addiction. And the more addiction, the more the inner conflict. The more the inner conflict, the more the need for an addiction. Because you are now suffering behind your own behavior. So absolutely painful. So, what is the Wim Hof Method all about? It's about three things: breath, cold therapy, and commitment. What is Recovery 2.0 about? It's about embracing a recovery path and treating addiction on all levels, mind and body and spirit, through the use of yoga, athletics, meditation, healthy lifestyle, diet, and community. That's it. That's what the deal is. So if you are watching this, you're listening to this, and you're thinking to yourself, there is a habit, let's not even call it an addiction, there is a routine, there is a habit that I'm stuck in. And I've said to myself many times, I'd like to change that. Okay, you absolutely can do it, but you're going to have the right practices and the right support to do it. So what I suggest to everybody is, be a scientist of your own. Inquire within. Focus on your life. Inquire about your life. What's coming up for you? If you want to become a piano player, it will help you to have a piano teacher. It will help you to watch other people who play piano well play piano. If you want to become a healthier person, it will make sense for you to be around healthy people. If you want to be a sober person who's thriving in their recovery, then it will help you to be around those people and to learn how they did it. It isn't a mystery. You can let go of a bad habit right now, but you're going to have to start a better habit in its place. I love the quote by Yogi Bhajan: you cannot change a habit. You can only swap one habit for another. So you have to swap your life. Hopefully, you're in the continuous swapping of a better behavior, a better habit for the habit that no longer serves you. And then you're in this never-ending road of evolution. And you can bet that you're doing great things. So if you want to look into the Wim Hof Method, please do. Go to wimhofmethod.com. By the way, I have nothing to do with this man's business. Nothing. I am not receiving any kind of kickbacks or funding or anything. This is just, I'm supporting you in exploring the things that I have found that have been helpful for me. So if this is curious to you, take a look at wimhofmethod.com and see for yourself, and then incorporate. If you're really stuck in addiction, you're looking for community, you're looking to get past this idea that you can't heal, then I strongly suggest you read my book and that you join the Recovery 2.0 community, because that's where you're going to find people who also believe in the idea that we can heal. And here's something that I've come to know about the people in our community. We don't like limitations being put upon us. We do not like limitations being put upon us. None of us seem to like that. And you know something else I've learned about people in our community? And I really mean everyone I've met shares these traits. Really. We want to push the limits of what's possible. We absolutely want to find out what is possible. And so that's what we're doing, is we are scientists of our own life. We are yogis. We apply the practices that create the right kind of pressure, the right kind of stress, so that we can become stronger and we can train ourselves into the mindset of, I can do just about anything within the boundaries of reality. If I set my mind to it, I can do it. I can heal myself. I can move beyond addiction, and I can thrive in my life. And you need to know that. And so Wim, for me, he's another example of victory. As you can tell, he's a heart-centered man, just lovely. And so there you go. That's what tonight was all about. And what else? What do you all have to say? Do you need something else? Where are we at? There's a few Q&As here. Okay. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one. Let's see. Where can we find the studies and the work Wim talks of? I already got that. How do we access this power in the limbic system? The ways that he's talking about are through cold therapy and the breath. So that's really going to be what it is. And another thing about Wim that we didn't get to talk about today, he talks about it openly. He lost his wife to suicide. And in fact, it was his wife's suicide that really propelled him into this work. So he's somebody that understands pain. He's somebody that understands emotional pain. And he's somebody that has overcome all that to the extent that he has, to be able to help others and to be able to help you and me and everyone else to try to overcome the limitations that we think we can get beyond. If any of you want to join Recovery 2.0, a few of you are asking, just go to our website, r20.com, r20.com. And once again, if you want to check out Wim's method, it's the wimhofmethod.com. Okay? I hope you guys had a wonderful evening tonight. I'm sending you much love. Let's bring our palms together at the heart center. And close the eyes. And let's end tonight's session with the Recovery 2.0 prayer. Inhale to begin. Universe, put me in the places you want me to be, with the people you want me to be with, doing the things you want me to do. Thank you for the joys and the challenges of my life. Amen and Sat Nam. I want you all to have an amazing week. We'll be resuming our Monday night live sessions. If you're not yet a member, we do this every Monday night. We are live together and we walk each other through the year together, moving always into healing, into love, and into connection. And you're invited. Much love and Sat Nam, you guys.